Hi guys, welcome to my channel once again. This is Battle with Ola. My name is Mujila Olu and I'm so thrilled to have you again here on this channel on this first episode in the year 2022. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this channel. I must say that I have been seeing all your questions and all your requests for me to make one video or make another video, and trust me, I have you in mind. And I'm trying as much as possible to get to the next episode of Ask Me Anything Legal with Ola, and it will come up very soon. But today we want to talk about a different topic entirely. If you're a law student, a first or second or third year law student, you would find this video very instructive. And if you're a lawyer or a layman, it will also be of help to you, either to remind you of something you already know about or to teach you something entirely new. I want to talk about fair hearing today. Fair hearing is a principle, a fundamental principle in the justice system all over the world, and more particularly in Nigeria. It is one of the most important foundations of our justice system. And today I want to talk about it, especially regarding the two important legs or arms of the principle of fair hearing. I hope you come along. Please subscribe to the channel and leave me comments on the video and on all other videos as soon as you've seen them. I must say also that sometimes people leave me personal messages. I've said it, if you would like to get to me personally or you have something personal to share with me, legal of course, you have to send it to houseoflivingstones@gmail.com. Sometimes I check the spam comments and I see that YouTube has hidden comments that are personal in nature. For instance, if you're asking for my phone number or you're putting your phone number out there for me to contact you with, or you're sharing something personal, sometimes YouTube hides it on its own accord based on some preset conditions and some settings that are already fixed to the channel. So if you need to talk to me directly, or if you have something you need to share with me and you don't want to share with other members, guests, friends and observers on the channel, you have to send it to houseoflivingstones@gmail.com. It's on your screen. It will be in the description box. That's my email, and I answer each mail as soon as I can. So thank you for taking note of that. Today let's talk about fair hearing. Fair hearing is a fundamental principle of law, and it essentially means that in the process of arriving at justice in our justice system, court must be fair. The court must be fair to all parties involved. And you can find this principle enshrined in our constitution, which is our ground norm in Nigeria, in section 36 of the constitution. The constitution mandates the court, the justice system, our legal system, to give everyone fair hearing regardless of their sex, their ethnicity, their religion, their age and what have you. So you understand that it's very crucial. It's a constitutional provision, fair hearing. The way that I can explain this for you to understand is if I break it into two parts. The fundamental stands upon which this principle is built, or foundation, and they are Audi, Alteram, Partem, and Nemo, Judex, in Causa. Those are two Latin maxims that explain the principle of fair hearing expressly and in depth. But there are some pointers for you to understand how the court should do justice and arrive at fair hearing, or rather how the court should conduct fair hearing and arrive at justice. And they are: one, the court must hear both sides in a matter. I'll come back to that, but the first thing is the court must hear both sides. Second thing is that the court must hear and address, adjudicate upon all material issues in a matter. The court cannot cherry pick and say that, oh, we'll talk about this, we won't talk about this, we'll examine this, we won't examine that. The court must address all material issues in any matter before it. The third thing is that the court must give equal treatment to all parties and equal opportunities. For instance, the constitution also provides for making an interpreter available to a party that cannot speak English, which is the language of the court in Nigeria. So if a party needs this and another party needs it, the court has to provide the interpreters that both of them need to them. So if someone needs an interpreter in Yoruba language, another person needs an interpreter in maybe Hausa or Efik or Ibibio language, the court must provide interpreters in those languages. There must be no partiality in treatment, and the court must also provide, equal opportunities to all parties involved in a matter. So equal treatment and equal opportunities. The fourth thing is that the hearing must be in public. Any court hearing must be in public, and the court must give prior notice to all parties concerned. You know that I've said it on this channel before that the court in Nigeria sits by 9 a.m. or so soon thereafter. So both parties must know that the court is sitting on their matter that day, and the sitting must be in public, where the public, members of the public, have access, to the court to observe the proceedings. Very important. And the last thing is that justice must be done, not just be done, but must be seen as being manifestly and undoubtedly done. That means that if a third-party observer, for instance, an innocent bystander, the Clapham omnibusman, walks into the court to observe a case, the adjudication of a matter, he must be able to go away with the conclusion and with the understanding that in this matter, justice was done, fair hearing was conducted, both parties were afforded equal opportunities and equal, treatment, and they were given equal facilities, as the Constitution provides and as all the other requisite law provides for them to defend themselves in this matter, to be heard, and to hear others. So these are some of the 5 pointers that you can look at when you want to say or examine or decide if justice has been done, if fair hearing has actually been conducted, or if fair hearing has been observed in any matter. So, fair hearing is a principle of law that branches out into different other principles. But today I want to talk such as due process, for instance, hearing the other party, someone not being a judge in their own case, etc. Talk about 2 principles today, 2 key principles that you can look at and say that, oh, if these 2 are present or were present in this matter, fair hearing was actually conducted. Fair hearing was actually, exercised. Fair hearing took place, rather. So you can look at these 2 things and say that, oh, fair hearing took place in this matter. And they are: 1, Audi, Alteram, Partem, hear the other party. And 2, Nemo, Judex, in Causa, no one is a judge or should be a judge or had to be a judge in his own matter. Now, Audi, Alteram, Partem is a Latin maxim, and it means hear the other party. It just means that in any matter, you cannot decide on the testimony of one side. You have to hear both sides. Both parties must be given adequate time and resources and opportunity, to defend themselves, to present their case before the court, upon which basis the court will arrive at a decision. The court cannot arrive at a decision based on one party's testimony or evidence. So the court must hear both parties. That's what it basically means, and we can apply it to our own daily lives. Even the Bible says that the first to state his case seems right until his accuser comes. So it's important for you to let the accuser come, to hear both sides and weigh, on the preponderance of evidence before you arrive at a decision as an adjudicator in any matter. It could be ADR, maybe you're an arbitrator, maybe you are a mediator, whatever, you are a facilitator in the decision making, or if you're a judge, in court, in litigation. Audi, Alteram, Partem, you've got to hear the other party. And the second principle is Nemo, Judex, in Causa. It means no one ought to be a judge in his own matter. That is, if there's a matter before the court and the adjudicator, the judge, or whoever is facilitating the hearing, is involved in some way which would facilitate bias, or where we can presume or safely assume that this person is too invested in this case or affected by this case to be able to arrive at an impartial decision, they should just excuse themselves. A person cannot judge their own matter. We have to leave it to a party, a third party, to judge. And that was what happened in Garba and University of Maiduguri. That's one of my favorite cases. It was the first case that I reviewed and studied and understood on my own as a law student, so I always remember it. In that case, there had been a riot in the school, and some students had burnt the VC's house, and destroyed some properties in the school. And the school set up a panel to investigate, look into the matter, and punish the suspects and the offenders. And it turned out that the VC whose house had been burnt during the riot was also a part of that sitting panel. So that principle came up and was restated by the court when the students challenged the decision of that panel in court, that the VC whose house was burnt in the arson that was committed by the students during the riot cannot sit over the same matter, cannot sit in the same panel that is set up to punish the students to look into the matter. He cannot be a judge in his own case. So if you have suffered an injury, you cannot also be a judge over the hearing of that injury. Nemo, Judex, Causa. This principle is to ensure that, bias and prejudices and all forms of, self promotion do not come into decisions that are made by the court or by any sitting body or panel. You need to hear the other party out, and if you have been affected or if you are directly involved or are linked to the matter in any way, you should excuse yourself and let innocent bystanders, innocent third parties judge the matter. So these two principles facilitate fair hearing: Nemo, Judex, Causa, and Audi, Alteram, Partem. So if you put them together, you understand that if any panel, any sitting court is able to exercise these two principles, alongside a few other things that the law has stipulated, we will arrive at fair hearing. But these are very crucial principles for any law student, any lawyer, and any layman to take note of, and that's what I want to discuss in this video. Fair hearing is constitutional. It must be observed in any case, in any matter, before the court or before any decision-making panel, and it can be applied to our own personal lives as well. And when we observe these two principles, we are able to efficaciously, execute fair hearing in any decision making. So that's all I have for you in this video. Leave me comments in the comment section. Let me know what you've learned or what you would like to see more of in the channel. Those that have been leaving me comments as to do this video on this, do that video on that, I am taking note of them and I'm going to get to them one after the other. I wish you a very prosperous 2022, and I will see you in my very next video. Do not forget to subscribe. Toodles.